everyone. My name is Cynthia Henry, and I'm the librarian for the College of Health and Human Sciences. Today, we're going to learn how to use some resources for your class in Family Consumer Sciences. So let's go ahead and get to that location. From the main library page, we can talk about a few things here. You can always find our hours here. If you needed to find a workshop or event here, you can just click on that, and that will list them all, and you can kind of find, what you're looking for. We have some classes that we do, but we also have some workshops that we do, and then we have some fun things that we are doing as well. So be sure to check that out. And then you can always check up here in the corner under Need Help. You can get to Ask a Librarian, and then you can ask us a question right from here. We covered the chat from 10 to 8 during the week, and then Friday it stops at 2. And then you can text message us at other times if you needed to, and often somebody will respond within a short time. But if you text overnight, then a lot of times that will be responding at 6, 7 in the morning. And then you can also make an appointment with your personal librarian. I happen to be your personal librarian. And so if you click here, you can find me. I happen to be the first one listed. And then you find a time that is useful, and you can make an appointment. And so you can see I have mine all scheduled out for the rest of the semester. Okay, I'm going to click on this double T. Anytime you see the double T, you can get back to this main page, and it's a quick tip to learn. I'm going to get into this personal librarians area just by clicking on this square. That'll allow us to find all the colleges listed here. So we're looking for the College of Health and Human Sciences. I'm looking for Family and Consumer Sciences. And then our class will be here, 4325, Family Issues and Social Action. These are all the databases for any topic in Family and Consumer Sciences, but let's go ahead and get into this area that is specific for our class. So Dr. Miller has put some resources here, and I have collected some things. We have the databases here, as you might need, but I know that we'll be looking a lot in this live binder that Dr. Miller put together for us. So just go ahead and grab that passcode, and I'm going to open this, and then we can talk about really building policies and having to find some information on different sites. And so we'll look at that together. I'm just going to open this now, and then I'm going to put that code that I saved in here. And now we're into this live binder, and it has some information here for you to look around. But I'm really going to be using some of these resources, which are just listed below as well. So each student has to put together a project on a topic, and these are some of the many topics that you can be using. And so we'll look around in here. You can see they range in a wide variety of different areas, from social to political to crises that are happening right here in the U.S. So let's look at eating disorders. I think that might be a good one to start out with. Now, if it loads like this, just use the link at the top and it will just populate to a new window. And I kind of like that anyway, because then I can keep my other tab up and running. So here we are on the Academy for Eating Disorders. And anytime I land on a new website and I'm really trying to figure out what are they trying to tell me, I kind of scan that first page here. We can see there's a newsletter here. And then I also look around here at the bottom. Oftentimes this is where there's going to be like like our contact information, who's involved in this organization. So you can see that there's some webinars here. The publications are also listed down here. You can also, community standards are here. But also I kind of look across the top here. So a lot of times in the about, they'll have who we are, what is our history, the staff that is working there. And then I also kind of look for like resources or publications. And so here you can see here's the newsletter that is archived. Here's the publications. So let's go ahead and look in the publications and see if we can see some other things there. So then we can see some different publications that they're putting out about uh, information on eating disorders. And you can like get a little blurb that it has some information. Most of these would have some, um, big statistics in there and how to get some help. And so you could just kind of like here's um, an infographic, if you will. If I open that, it'll have some good stats. Um, oh, oh no, their page is not found. That's not good. So I'm just going to close that and that will put me back on the page before. Maybe I have to click on the learn more. I'm going to try one more time just to see. Oh, yep. I just needed to click on the learn more instead of on the image itself. And then you can download this data. I was trying to see if it was big enough that we could see that information, how current it is. I bet you these are not too old, but remember, it does take a while to compile that information. And it does say it's from the Journal of Eating Disorders from 2018. So it's a little older than I expected, but still probably pretty relevant. And then it keeps you giving you some good snippets in a visual sort of way so that you can see quite a few stats here. And then you can see everybody that is involved in helping with that information. And it even links to a report that you can download and read the whole thing if you wanted to instead of just this snippet. So I'm going to go ahead and close this and we're back on that screen. We could look at other resources here. We could look at the newsletter archive. We can see any information about the eating disorders. And then let's see here. We can see some resources for students and postdocs. So I'm sure if you were looking at this, let's see what's in there for us. They could tell us some information about that. So then we have some webinars. Maybe you would want to see what is the current practices or research in there. Maybe even some scholarships here. But it's some good information here that you can find. And that's just kind of looking around the outside edge. And here's some contact information. And that's how I try to make sure that I'm learning the most information about the resource that I'm trying to dig into. So that is a little bit about eating disorders. Let's go ahead and look at a few others. I'm going to leave these up in case we're going to come back to that. And let's see here. What is another one? Oh, food security, I think, is another one that is um, prevalent now. And so I'm going to click on that and see what we can see. We would have food insecurity here in Texas, uh, definitions of food scarcity, security. And let's look at the food insecurity in Texas. And so that didn't really come up. Let me just grab that real quick. So this is another infographic, it looks like, put out, but it has all the counties of Texas, and then it tells you the banks that are around. So there's quite a few food banks across the state. And then here out in Lubbock, where I am at the moment recording, you can see we have the South Plains Food Bank that you could access if need be. But that is very encouraging to see that there are so many different counties that are covered. That, if you were really going hungry, hopefully they would have something to share with you. And then we can say the information, the stats about Texas specifically. So we can find that here. And I bet you we can keep learning about what has been happening and the percentage of SNAP applications across 2020 to 2023. Now, remember, we've had the pandemic in the middle of that. And so I do think that probably impacted quite a few of us. So you might see the difference. So applications and redeterminations. And so we can see how that is. Um, Quite a few applications here. It was rough in 2021. And then now here we are in 2022. Just when I think we thought we were out of it, we had a little bit more. And so you can see that. Then the legislation is talking about how it's being addressed in our, um, this is a House bill here in Texas, not at the federal level, but here in the state of Texas. And then some other information. And this is SNAP denials by the fiscal year. So quite a few people were having a hard time in these last 2 years of the pandemic. And I think that we all saw that happening. So this is some of the information here. Let's see if we can find a policy instead of just some information about our food insecurity here in Texas. I'm going to go ahead and be back in this area and see if we can, maybe the definition of food security would be nice to know if you're going to be talking about that. Again, we can look at all this. This is from the USDA. We would have reports here. We can see each of these reports. This is food and nutrition assistance landscape just from 2023, which is very current. We're still in 2024. That really got turned around and put out quite quickly. Here we are looking at school lunches. Let's go ahead and see what's happening in the school lunches edition. And then we can even get the complete report by getting the PDF here, or we might get the snapshot here. Yeah, let's look at it. I'm going to get the report summary just so it would load faster for us here. But you can see some stats here that are being addressing from 69 to 2022 and see how that was collected. So I'm sure the longer version has some more information, but really highlighting what has changed since 2028. So that's pretty cool. And then let's see if we could see one more here that might, we were looking a little bit at SNAP under our food insecurity in Texas. What about college students? So let's see if we can find anything here. Okay, so this is, oh yeah, just go ahead and accept those cookies. I'm just trying to get that out of the way. Here's our highlights, and it will let you jump to that, the fast facts, the highlights, or it will let you see the whole report if you want to, the recommendations, and then this is just information about how we could help college students, because people would be surprised that you may not have enough food to sustain you through the semester, especially if you're on a tight budget and you don't budget that well, and there's no more money at the end of the semester to get help. That could be a real problem. And so then we can see what are ways that we can address this at this level specifically, and then how it's going. So, and then of course the full reports are down here. So that is how you would kind of look around and find the information for any kind of topic. Let's see if we can take one more topic. I'm going to move this down just a bit and see. We could look at housing and homelessness, or long-term care and aging. Maybe we'll look at that. I have elderly parents that I'm looking after. And so this is kind of in my neck of the woods, I guess. So here is the economic security. You can see this one loaded right here. We can read our latest policy position. Let me go ahead and load that up and see if that opens here. Let's see. Oh, it's just asking us to do that. But then it's looking here, our public policy positions, and then it will have that information here. So you can see all of that. Sometimes it's okay, but I might even open that up into the window that we had been looking at. And so then here is where we were, and you can read the whole policy. So this to me is a little bit easier to read, and it's kind of breaking down the benefits and how Congress is addressing this, and health and independence, how Medicaid is impacted, how you can get these other services, income security for this, with women retire with fewer savings but live longer than men. That's a big concern. And then how you could address that. So it's very cool. And then you can get the whole report just by clicking here. Let's kind of explore this website. What do we learn here? So we can talk about aging well, aging in place, benefits and assistance. So those are all things that would be useful if you were discussing this topic. Here's some professional resources. So again, it benefits access, economic well-being. Fall prevention seems to be a big concern here, because if you have a hard fall and you break a hip, then that really impacts your um, living, of course, in that moment. But I'm not sure most people recover from that well. And then senior centers, so that maybe you're still getting out once a day or once every other day to meet with others and, play bingo or do some cards. That helps with your memory, but it also gives you something to look forward to. So all of those are professional resources. Let's see about what is looking in these. I'm gonna open this healthy aging programs and see what's all inside there. So we have some different options here that we can see, some different suggestions. It looks like evidence-based programming. And then let's see. Oh, and so it will take you right to that spot if you click on one of those buttons, and then you can download that. A spreadsheet of approved programs. So they're really trying to help you locate those items for you. And then contacting themselves about our impact, their financial information, their policy positions. And we're back to that page. Let's see what their impact, their financial information is. I always think that this is really useful information. The more they're sharing, the more transparent any organization is, the better it is. So here it is. Their year clearly ends in June. And that is common that different organizations have different endings. Um, uh, in academia, we have ours end in August with a September 1st is the new start date. And so then they have the highlights there and getting vaccines and what are concerns and how we're promoting that. Very cool information. Here's our public policies and research, and then you can get to that information. And then here's some graphics and the expenses by category, and then the total annual report there if you wanted to download that right here. Okay, so I think that gives us some idea of how to navigate different websites on how to find some resources, especially with this in this live binder. You would still be able to see that information here, get some different information from all these different topics, and get a good start on any topic that you're looking at in these categories. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of searching together as if we needed to find a peer-reviewed item, a journal article. We could look at some of these different databases. Academic Search Complete is a large database on campus that covers almost any topic on campus. And so that's a good one, and we'll get in there and do some searching. But Education Source is very good because it's really applicable to this area. And then depending on what you're really looking at, if you're looking at families or maybe some health and mental issues, eating disorders here, and then just some other big useful databases in case you haven't found what you needed so far. If you're having a hard time finding any of that, feel free to schedule an appointment with me. You can do that right from this page. You can email me. You can schedule an appointment right here. And then the only other database I was going to point out is Statista here at the bottom. And that is a statistics portal. So if you haven't been able to find some stats already on the pages that you're using for your topic, this is a good place to do some searching, and we'll look at that in just a second. But I'm just going to let's go ahead and get into education source. I think it's a little bit more on topic. I'm going to grab it real quick. It is also a EBSCO database. You'll see this, but I'm going to click here. I'm going to show all. And that tells me the name of this database. We clicked on the title, Education Source. I like to point that out because people will say, oh, I was in EBSCO. But EBSCO is the big vendor, the big name, and Education Source is the Pacific database by that vendor. And that's kind of like Nabisco to Oreo. You want to know the cookie name, not the big vendor. And then I'm going to click on Advanced Search. And then let's do some searching here. What if we looked at eating disorders and then specifically maybe women and I wonder if we could find even a narrowed more search. We might look at that. This will do for our purposes. And then we might want to make sure we're looking at our peer reviewed. That is anything that is refereed, juried, has all been peer reviewed, has all been sent to a panel of experts in that field before it was published into these journals. So you just have a bit more authority. So I'm going to click on that, and that will automatically update our search. And then I'm going to also update our date range. Now you can type in this box if you wanted to right here, but often I just grab this slide and then I'm just going to pull it over to 2020. That'll get us about the last 5 years, just shy there, since we're here at the end of 2024. So now we're down to about 166. That's not a bad search. I try to get it to about 100. If it's a little bit less than that, like if we're down to like 20, maybe there's a term I really need to rethink and see if there's a synonym that I want to put up in the top. Or if I'm having a really hard time finding a spot where I think I'm getting some good results, that's a good time to make an appointment with me. Maybe you just need to be in a different database. Maybe you just need to be using a different keyword. And one tip that I do share with students is if you're having a hard time looking for something, if you will write in one sentence what you're really searching for, like I'm researching whatever it is, then often that sentence will help you find the nouns that you need to be looking for in as your keywords. So let's look at a few of these. I'm just going to grab this one. And so this is the title of the item here, the synthesis of the eating disorder inventory. And then here are the authors. Here's the journal source information. And so it's from the Journal of Counseling and Development, July 2023, volume 101, issue 3, and that's the page range. So everything there, I just mentioned, it would have to be in my citation if I was going to use this in a paper or project. And so if I come over here, I can see this little yellow piece of paper that is labeled cite. If I click on that, it will help me build the citation. Here's APA 7th if you're using that. If you're using something else, you can grab one of these others. But you can just drop this into your Word doc or email to yourself, and then you will have it. I'm going to go ahead and close that just by marking on this X, and I'm back on the record. And then let's look at this. Here's the abstract, and anything that is bolded is up in our search terms. But here are some good information too. So author supplied keywords is some good words, some good keywords. Author knows what he or she has been writing about, but these subject terms are more applicable to how this article is indexed in this database. So if I thought this article was on target and I wanted to find more like it, I would want to look at these. So maybe we're really focusing on counseling with eating disorders with women in this search. And so we would want to look at that as well. So if this is something I wanted to read, how would I go about doing that? I'm going to come over here and look at the PDF. Now you can use the HTML full text, but it is just the text of the paper on the website. And so it doesn't show you where the page breaks. It usually doesn't have page numbers. So if you have the option of the PDF, I always encourage you to get that. I'm just going to click on that and it's going to load up the PDF for us. I'm going to scoot this up and out of the way a bit. And so here is the paper. And you can see if I was really quoting something, I would easily be able to say that was on page 360 if I needed to do that. And then I could download it or print it here and not use this outside frame. If I use these, then it will just print this outside frame, not the paper itself. So just be aware of that. And then I'm just going to click back on this results list. And we're back into our results. And you can see the PDF is sitting here or the HTML. The other nice thing is, let's look at this first one. It doesn't have it. If we don't have that, then we'll use this Find It. The Find It is our links resolver here in the library, and it will help you find that item. And so it has actually landed on the library website and moved me on into the journal directly. And as soon as that loads up completely, then we'll be able to find that PDF here. And you can see the PDF is here and I can download it. Or I can read it, scan it here if I wanted to before I downloaded it. And every vendor puts it in a slightly different place. So you can see this says PDF. Sometimes they have the Adobe icon. Sometimes they list them over here. Sometimes they list them at the top. EBSCO lists them on the other side. One, for whatever reason, makes you scroll all the way to the bottom and then get it. Sometimes it says free full text as opposed to PDF. So all of that, if you ever land at a place where you think you should be able to read the article and you just can't seem to figure it out, send me the link and let me see if I can help you find that, because that's what we're here for. I want you to be able to find the research that you're needing. And then let's see if we can find one more that is maybe Find It and see if we have a different option here. We do. And so this is where it has landed on the library screen, and then we can find it by using these, or we just started using a new tool about the last year or so, and it puts the PDF up here at the top of this page instead of down here in the middle. You can just click here and not have to find the right volume issue page. I'm going to open that and it will take me through this LibKey page to the PDF itself. And once it's loaded up, then I could download the PDF over here. So those are 3 different examples. We're going to go back one page. If there was no full text here and it said no full text here, then I could immediately use the requested. And that will open my interlibrary loan account through document delivery as our department here at the library that handles all of these requests. So if we don't own it, you can still request it. And you would just click on request it. It's going to interact with my interlibrary loan account and it will fill in all the pieces, and all I'd have to do is hit submit request. And so if there was no full text, this is what I would do. That usually comes in about 48 hours. So here I am. This happens to be a Wednesday that I'm recording it. I should be able to be reading this by Friday. And if I was going to do some big project and maybe I wanted to work on that on a Sunday, make sure you're doing the research early enough that you have all your materials. Don't submit everything on Friday and then have nothing to work with on Sunday. Go ahead and do that like the week before, Monday before, so that you can get it. This is all information about electronic materials. So if we find it electronically for you, you'll get a TTU email saying that it's ready for you, and you can come in here and see the PDF, and I can download this PDF and print it or store it however I wanted to, just like I got it out of the database. Or if it is a physical item, like it's a real book that's coming from another location, we ask that you allow us to have 7 days. I don't think I have anything checked out to me right now. So we don't have any good example here, but if, for example, we requested a book for you that we don't own from another library, they get to decide how long we get to keep it. And if that is coming like maybe from Austin, for example, that might be 2 or 3 days, then we would have it to you. But if it's really coming from like Oregon on the other side of the country, it would take a little bit longer. So that's why we asked for you to allow us to have 7 days. So feel free to use this service. We want you to know how to do that. To set that up back on our page here, you can come down here and set up your account by clicking on Interlibrary Loan ILL. And then you would sign in here with your e-rater, and then it will land on a screen. But it will take you, if it's the first time you've ever used it, to a page where you can fill in your information. Make sure you're filling in your TTU email, as that is the only email we really can respond to. We can't, due to copyright reasons, use your Yahoo or Gmail or whatever other tool you're using. Okay, so let's kind of look again here at some information. We've come into the personal librarians area. We got on our classroom information. We looked at the live binder here with our passcode here, and we saw all those different pages out on the open web that we had collected for different topics that you can be using. Here's a handout from myself if you wanted to use that to help you remember how to do all of this. And then here are our databases that we use quickly. And then let's do one more search in Statista before we get done. And that way you can know how to search for stats. So this is a really nice tool now. You can almost put, let's get rid of the cookies, any topic here. I am going to put in eating disorders because that's what we were using. Let's see if we can find something here. And it breaks it down for you, like eating disorders in the U.S. statistics and facts, right there from 2023. I can open it and use it. Here's a whole report. If you wanted to see something around the world, this is from 1990 through 2019, and it's divided by gender. So, I mean, it is really nice. I'm going to open this one real quick. So, oh, Lordy. Well, that's not supposed to happen. Oh, I'm sorry. I think that is my browser issue. Let me grab this real quick, and I'm just going to open Firefox and pull this over here so you can see that real quick. And I'm going to drop that back in there and see if we can't get right back to that same search. My apologies. And so here we are again. And that's going to open. And so now you can see some information about it. You can show more text if you want. You can have these different charts and graphs. If we opened one of these, we can see the chart and graph. The nice thing about Statista is you can download it as a PDF or an Excel or an image or straight into PowerPoint. So if you're really using this for a presentation or for a paper, you can have any one of those and it can drop right into there and it will be set up just like this. And then you would just cite it with using this information. It has some information here of where it came from. Here's the source. Here is who collected it. It was published by this. Here's the link, so you can use that as your reference information. And here's some more details about that, when it was, what region it was, and then if you had any FAQs, you could have that information answered here. So it really is synced all together there for you to have all that information right at your fingertips. So I really like this tool. And that is Statista again. And I'll go ahead and minimize this. And we are back on our page. And it's this last one if you wanted to use that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or make an appointment. That's what we're here for. These appointments are about 30 minutes is what we typically make them. And they can be on Zoom or in person. Thank you so much.